Accompanying video for the SJB stroke Torres custom valve spring reverb. Okay, first of all, to show you, we're going through a 1950s Selma True Voice, which is a bit noisy and hummy, as you can hear. When I disconnect the reverb, the mains hum is very slightly less. So there is a little bit of it coming from the reverb, but that's kind of what you'd expect from a valve unit. Incidentally, all these tools, I've actually just been putting a new socket in my guitar, trying to deal with various things. So, first of all, just to show you over the controls, this is a push-pull for a preamp. If it's in, that's just normal, and so you'll probably lose a tiny bit of signal like you would with the standard Fender unit, or be about flat. That's the tone, and it's the tone of the reverb. Doesn't affect the tone of the guitar. You can set that elsewhere, but it's the tone of the reverb that comes back from the spring. This is the drive, how it hits the spring. You've got to be careful with that. If you're using the preamp, you have to keep this reasonably low, because you're going to hit the amp fairly hard, the spring fairly hard. And this is just the mix of dry and reverb here, okay? And that's the reverb in and out, which is also controlled with a foot switch, if you've got one plugged in there. Okay, I'm going to give you a little demo. I'm going to try and... Look, I'm just going to put the phone on top of the amp for now, so you can hear what goes on. In fact, oh no, I got too close to it, so it's humming. I've got to be a decent distance away. Okay, so this is it going through into the reverb without the preamp in. Okay, not a lot I can do with one hand. So, that volume knob doesn't do anything when the preamp's not in, okay? I'll just show you what you can get if you turn up the controls to full. So hopefully you can hear that that's a pretty serious, deep reverb. Okay, now I'll just back those off a bit, particularly the drive, and show you what a more civilized reverb is like. So, quite subtle, maybe too subtle, but let's turn them off so you hear the difference. Okay, and then with the really bright, then you really get mad drip. Okay, now we can add in, let me just back that tone off, we can add in the valve preamp, which is set to be clean. I was playing with surf, so this is about baffle, just a slight boost there, but it'll go real loud without distorting. If you change the input valve to a more standard one, you should be able to get overdrive out of that quite nicely. I got rid of that. I changed the valve because I didn't want any overdrive. I wanted a clean sound all the way through, and so I was actually able to boost my volume quite significantly by getting more clean signal going into the amp. Okay, I think that's pretty much all I can tell you about it. Maybe I'll just show you what it's like when it's full up with the preamp in. As you can hear, lots and lots of reverb. Okay, there's a case with this, but that you can see that in the photo, so I'll leave it at that.